They have the lead, but the game's ahead of us. I think we're going to see the outcome of the game be decided the second half.
Well, we've seen Mike Tomczak already throw a couple of early interceptions, so the first part of the game, the tone was definitely set with teams just exchanging turnovers, and the big one was the interception by Darren Carrington of San Diego.
Right, but the passing game is still going to be the weapon of these offenses. Neither one of these teams are going to sustain the ball on the ground against the other's defense.
And the Chargers kick it off where Randy Baldwin, about a yard deep in his own end zone, takes it out, and he'll get it across the 20 to about the 21-yard line. A late flag has been thrown after a return of 22 yards. Marquez Hope in there in the stop for San Diego. And it is against San Diego. So
face mask on the kicking team during the return. 5-yard penalty only. First down.
So that'll bring it out 5 yards to the 27-yard line. And here are the Keystone Light halftime stats. We mentioned the turnovers by both teams, a couple early, but they've settled down a little bit. Other than that, pretty even. The Chargers were able to get the touchdown, and they lead it 7-3 as Cleveland comes out at its first series. Kevin Mack bolts ahead for about 5 yards for Cleveland. Burt Grossman made the stop for San Diego. So Mack, the 8th-year two-time Pro Bowler out of Clemson, gets a good gain of 5. Kevin Mack with 50 career touchdowns. He's been in this league a long time, and just another one of the many running weapons that Bill Belichick has back there. Kind of the elder statesman of the running backs now that Metcalf and Bardell are being mixed in the scheme as well. On 2nd down and 5, this is Mack again. Maybe a yard or two that time. Leslie O'Neal, the right end for San Diego, made the stop. I want to update an injury earlier in the game on Michael Dean Perry, the Pro Bowl defensive lineman for Cleveland. He limped off the field with an injured knee. They took him underneath the stands to take x-rays, and as soon as we have a further update on that, we'll pass it along to you. But we have heard that his return to this game is doubtful. So the Browns defense will miss him. You can bet as this game develops. 3rd down and a short one. Mack will get his 3rd straight call, and he'll get the first down. Stanley Richard made the stop for San Diego. So Cleveland on its first series comes out, moves the ball, and picks up a first down.
Good penetration that time by this Charger defense, but Mack was able to pick his way through the hole, get the first down. That's 3 straight running plays that they're able to get it. Watch the pit. Now look at that penetration over there on the right side by the Chargers, but there's Mack finding just the slightest crease to sneak through.
At the 39. Play action. Tomczak, Lawyer Tillman, first down inside Charger territory. Gil Burr, the left cornerback, made the stop. Lawyer Tillman, the big play man, which set up the field goal for Cleveland. With just seconds left in the first half, comes up big again.
Well, the play action fake freezes the linebackers and allows Tillman to get in behind them with a one-on-one coverage on Bird. Bird closes well, but he has no underneath help to try to deflect that type of pass. Good play action fake.
5 catches for 82 yards for Lawyer Tillman. 1st and 10. Mack for no gain.
The ball carrier.
And he's brought down by Burt Grossman, who had help from the left outside linebacker Henry Rolling.
Big George Thornton's in there too. This defense of the Chargers, loaded with like 7 #1 picks or so, have just been playing well. They've played well all season long, as a matter of fact. Even through the 4 losses, they had pretty good games. It's their offense that wasn't able to get going at that time. Look at that. They haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 21 games.
And that's the #1 defense against the run of the NFL of defensive coordinator Bill Arnsparger. And here is Eric Metcalf, who gets some good yardage across the right side.
Eric Metcalf, the ball carrier.
He had the 2nd down and 10 carries, so that'll bring up 3rd down and about 7. or 6. Junior Seau on the stop for San Diego. So Cleveland comes out with a rather conservative first series drive here to open up the second half.
Well, I don't think they're going to stay on the ground here. 3rd down and 7. They'll be hoping for a lot to be able to bust Metcalf through there on some type of draw, or maybe go to a screen pass, but I think he's going to go downfield with this next one.
Metcalf is in the backfield. Michael Jackson went in motion, and they try to get the screen off to Metcalf on the left side, but it was deflected by Leslie O'Neal, who already earlier this game picked up his 9th sack of the game. So he once again makes his presence known to Mike Tomczak.
Oh, Leslie O'Neal, his defensive backs just love that kind of play. They'll come up and say, nice going, Leslie. Watch him get his right hand up there and swat the ball into the air. And for the Browns, they're fortunate that it wasn't intercepted.
On 4th and 7, Brian Hansen back to punt to Gil Bert. Earlier in the game, we saw Eric Bieniemy, but Bert is in there now, and he'll let this one float over his head. It lands at the 2-yard line, takes a bounce into the end zone, where San Diego will begin their first series of the second half. 1st and 10 from their 20. The Chargers in a low-scoring game, up 7-3.
NFL on NBC is brought to you by Hertz's Fastest Service, now in more locations coast to coast. By cold filtered Keystone, Keystone Light and Keystone Dry. Bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great? By Prestone. It stops the rust that stops your car. And by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Well, is there a better place to be than Cleveland Stadium today, Joe?
Well, not if you're a Brownie, by goodness.
You're right. They turn out here. Rain, snow, sleet. They've had pretty much all of it today. And they trail at 7-3. Just start of the 3rd quarter here in Cleveland Stadium. 10:38 left. And the Chargers 1st down and 10 from their 20. And this is Marion Butts. Stop for no gain. Anthony Pleasant, the big right end for Cleveland, in there to put the stop on Marion Butts in his 3rd year out of Tennessee State. In fact, Mike Johnson nicknamed Anthony Pleasant the stud earlier this season because he makes life easier on the linebackers back there. Real improving defensive end for Cleveland. He's got 3 sacks this year. Butts even lost a yard on that, so it's 2nd down and 11. Humphries to Anthony Miller, complete. Gain of about 6, and that'll still bring up 3rd down and about 5. David Brandon on the coverage for the Browns. Anthony Miller struggled through an injury-plagued season last year. The 2-time Pro Bowler vowed to come back and have a better year. Michael Dean Perry back in the lineup for Cleveland after injuring his knee in the first half. He was listed as questionable coming in to the second half play, but he's in the defensive unit for the Browns on the 3rd down conversion, and Derek Walker makes the catch for San Diego, but a flag is down at the 45-yard line, so we'll see if that'll bring it back. Frank Minifield on the coverage for Cleveland as the snow begins to swirl again.
I think this is going to go against the Browns. Nate Lewis was running downfield and had his jersey half removed from him. I think
on a day like today, you don't want to have your jersey half removed. A holding call against Cleveland.
But I don't know that the gain wasn't better than the penalty here. I think they're going to stick with the play because they got more yardage than the 5-yard holding penalty would give them.
Holding on the defense, number 28. The penalty is declined. 1st down.
That's what San Diego will do. They'll decline the penalty, so the pass play to Derek Walker will stand. And the Chargers have a 1st down at their own 41-yard line. They lead at 7-3. Marion Butts, again, no gain. Mike Johnson, the middle linebacker, was there to meet him, the defensive captain for the Cleveland Browns. leads the team with 105 tackles coming into this game.
59 right in the middle of the screen, fights off the blocker and makes the play. He's getting some help, of course, from his defensive lineman up front. Michael Dean Perry back in there has got to lift this Cleveland Brown defense a bit.
Mike Johnson was the AFC's Defensive Player of the Month in October. Had a huge month. 2nd down and 9. Humphries quick out to Ronnie Harmon on the right side, trying to get loose for the 1st down, but he'll be well short. Eric Turner, the strong safety, able to wrestle him down.
The tackle made by Mike Johnson.
Eric Turner, used to being on the inside. The Chargers put Harmon on the outside there, and they have a one-on-one situation with a guy that's not used to being out there necessarily, and they pick up a little bit of yardage, about 6-7 yard gain. That's one thing about this Charger offense these days. They utilize so many different formations and utilize their personnel so well as opposed to the past.
And now San Diego calls a timeout on the 3rd and 2. And we will step aside here and Chargers up 7-3. We'll return to Cleveland Stadium after these words from your local station. San Diego up on top of the Cleveland Browns 7-3. 7:46 left in the 3rd, and after a flurry of early game turnovers, both defenses have begun to dug in, and that has been the tempo of this game. Ronnie Harmon, the go-to guy on 3rd down for San Diego. Almost half of his receptions have been for 1st downs. He's the leading receiver on this San Diego team, and on 3rd and 2, Shawn Jefferson to the near side. Harmon also in the offensive set. Humphries takes a drop, and he's got Ronnie Harmon, and the Chargers have the 1st down and more as Harmon fights for extra yardage to the 42-yard line. Terry Taylor there to make the stop.
Well, Harmon comes out this way. Everson Walls, the defensive back, is not up there that fast. It looks like it should be a zone coverage, and you see Walls coming in a little bit late. Harmon being able to shake him off and make another 1st down reception.
Harmon, the #1 running back in receptions in the AFC. So important to the San Diego offense, especially on the long yardage situations and on 3rd down. This is 1st down and 10, and Marion Butts.
Marion Butts, the ball carrier.
Michael Dean Perry, who just entered the ball game a few moments ago, made the stop. We mentioned he had the knee surgery in June, then re-injured it in the 1st game of the season, and it has been tender all year long. But he is back in there.
Well, what an awful feeling it is out there to have a bad knee, being in the pits right there. Now, you're concerned with stopping the defense, the running game, but you've got to be concerned someone falling into your leg. I mean, it's a very uncomfortable feeling.
And with the snow beginning to fly again, Humphries to pass just over the outstretched hands of Anthony Miller. And Taylor was on the coverage, and another flag is dropped. And a hold against San Diego.
You see, that's where these defensive linemen sometimes don't get credit. They create penalties. You create a problem. Not necessarily get back there on the passer, but because you've beaten your man, someone has to hold you and you get the penalty.
Ed Hockley, our referee.
I can't believe he's not wearing gloves.
Holding on the offense, number 98. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
I don't know that number on the offense, 98. Did he say 98? They don't have an offensive lineman numbered 98. At any rate, Bobby Ross, head coach of the Chargers, isn't too happy with it.
Especially with his team at a 2nd down and 20 situation now.
2nd down, 20 from the Charger 48.
The 8th play of San Diego's drive. Humphries pass deflected in and out of the hands of Mike Johnson. It was intended for Shawn Jefferson, who has the lone touchdown catch of this game.
Check out the flight of this ball. When Humphrey releases it, it kind of just floats in the air. It either slips out of his hand, but it definitely ends up behind the receiver. You see that thing? Woo! Should have been intercepted.
Michael Dean Perry almost got a hand on that ball at the line of scrimmage. But Mike Johnson got a hand on it, deflected it away, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 20 for San Diego. Anthony Miller to the near side. Ronnie Harmon in as well. Humphries has it all the time. Harmon gets it out of the backfield. And he'll pick up about 10 yards, but still well short of the first down. They needed 20, got maybe 10. As Harmon picks up another reception. And you can see he is a very busy man on first downs for Bobby Ross's San Diego team. Chargers 4-5 coming into this game, and another loss would dim their playoff hopes.
Let's check and see if John Kidd kicks this ball toward the sidelines, Dan. The field is awful sloppy down at that end, and the Chargers would love to be able to back Cleveland up close to their goal line.
Eric Metcalf stands at the 10. Hanging punt falls at about the 6-yard line, where did San Diego, were they able to get it? Yes, they were. Cleveland will be pinned down on its own 1. In fact, less than 1. The ball is being spotted inside the 1-yard line. What a punt by John Kidd. 42 yards, and San Diego recovers it. Cleveland will be pinned deep inside its own territory.
I guess Hager will have to pay me for another commercial. Maybe not. Oh.
New Hager wrinkle-free cottons. 100% cotton, 0% wrinkles.
On special teams for San Diego, John Kidd, the punter, pinning Cleveland deep inside the 1, and Darren Carrington makes the play inside the 1. He's already got an interception return for 71 yards. And comes up with a big play there, which has pinned Cleveland back. Mike Tomczak on the keeper there. So Carrington with a special teams tackle. The recovery down inside the 1. And the big fumble, big interception return was set up the Stan Humphries to Shawn Jefferson touchdown in the first quarter. And that has been the only touchdown of the game.
I tell you, that ball is so close to the goal line. Coach Belichick chose to call a quarterback sneak that time. He'd like to get his team a little bit of room out there to at least be able to run the ball without taking a chance of being sacked in the end zone. But in this situation, you're going to have one-on-one with your wide receivers, and it's a gutsy call, but I'd love to see him throw the pass.
2nd down and 10. Tomczak throwing from his end zone. Lawyer Tillman makes the catch at the 25-yard line. Floyd Fields on the coverage, but another huge gain and clutch catch by Lawyer Tillman, 25 yards.
I like the way Tomczak came to Tillman, too. Tomczak was trying to go down the left side of the field. Good pass protection. Here you see Tillman. He's going to break open in here and reach behind himself there to make a nice hands catch. But it was the pass protection and Tomczak coming off his original primary receiver being able to make the throw downfield to Tillman. Good move by Mike Tomczak.
6 catches for 107 yards for Lawyer Tillman. 1st and 10 from its own 25. Tomczak with a play fake, and it's tipped off a San Diego defender into the hands of Leroy Horde. It was tipped by number 57 Henry Rolling of San Diego. But Leroy Horde made the catch, and another 25-yard gain for Cleveland.
Hey, I'm not going to pretend like I know who this pass was intended to, because I don't. I saw about 5 white shirts out there on the left side of the screen. They get their hand on the ball right there. You see the white shirts, and it bounces to Leroy Horde. I guess you'd call that a good bounce for a Brownie.
It was intended for Horde, and the deflection wasn't enough to keep it out of his grasp. So another 1st down and 10. The ball at midfield now for Cleveland. This time, Tomczak will give it to Kevin Mack, and he is stopped for no gain at the line of scrimmage. 3:19 left in the 3rd quarter. George Thornton on the stop.
Big George Thornton, 300 pounds of muscle, strength. Hey, well, muscle, not all of it muscle. George likes to eat a little bit, but he's quite a player. Big George comes from my alma mater, Alabama, Dan. That's why I'm talking a lot about him. Big George.
Speaking of Alabama, they survived last night.
Yeah, these Chargers are looking to survive today under these weather conditions. I think they're not letting these weather conditions bother them too much. This defense is doing awful well.
Play is stopped. Flags come in from every direction. It was a 2nd down and 9 call.
You know, this Charger team's more mature. Used to be their young players here, there.
False start prior to the snap, number 66, 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
Tony Jones, movement on the Browns offensive line, the big left tackle out of West Carolina. So 2nd down and 14 for the Cleveland Browns. This drive started just outside of their own goal line, and they have moved it up to the 46. Tomczak has room to run. He'll pay the price at midfield, where he is met by Stanley Richard. Tomczak was really hit on the play. Stanley Richard, the 2nd-year man out of Texas, the Chargers' 1st-round draft pick from a couple of years ago. Tomczak knew he had some room, Joe, but when he got there, he paid the price.
Sure, he tried to cut it back underneath Richard, but you see Stanley being a wonderful athlete. The sheriff says, hey, don't you be coming my way. I'm going to stop you.
That's Stanley Richard. It's his nickname. He's out of Hawkins, Texas. 3rd down and 10 now. Tomczak back to pass, complete to who else but Lawyer Tillman, who is having a huge afternoon. Stanley Richard and Darren Carrington there on the stop, but Lawyer Tillman, what a story he's been in his 2nd year out of Auburn, plagued by injuries, holdouts. He even thought about giving up the game of football. He had a fractured ankle early in his career. This one good for 18 yards.
This is a big game for him yard-wise, right? I guess he's over 100 yards by now. There it is, 124 yards. My goodness.
And every time the Browns have needed a clutch reception in big yardage, Tomczak has gone to Lawyer Tillman. Now 1st and 10. Mack has some room on the right side. Pulls his way over for a couple more. And with 35 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, Cleveland taking a big chunk out of the clock. That is Mack a bit shaken up after Blaze Winter made the stop. Blaze Winter is on the field. He's also hurt for San Diego. And we'll be back to Cleveland Stadium. The Browns are down, but they're threatening.
Is the injured Chief.
Well, Neil Smith has just taken a knee right down by him, but they were chasing him, and that was, as you say, a heck of a pass by Mark Rippon.
It'll be a Redskin 1st down at the Kansas City 18 when we come back.
Kevin Mack wanted to take this ball up in the middle, but he bounces outside on the right side of the screen. 83, Mark Bavaro right there blocking 2 men, turning them in, affording Mack the chance to get around the corner. That's Mark Bavaro. What a blocker he is.
And that enabled Kevin Mack to get 5 yards. Mark Bavaro has given this team a sense of toughness, according to Bill Belichick. And right now, in a drive that began at its own 1, in fact, it was inside its own 1, the Browns are knocking on the door. Tomczak complete to Mark Bavaro. 1st down, Cleveland. Henry Rowley knocked him out of bounds. So not only can Bavaro block, as mentioned, Joe, he can pick up the big clutch reception.
Sure, he runs what we call a little arrow pattern straight out of his stance to the outside, beats the linebacker there, and Tomczak finds him. Sure-handed Bavaro, 6'4", 245. Just a wonderful player.
Well, Bill Belichick says we don't go to plays, we go to players. And right there, Mark Bavaro was the player. Cleveland threatening down 7-3. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
On this end of the field, but with the turf conditions, it's going to be tough running.
Already they've gone 84 yards. The 9th play of this drive. Play action. Tomczak looking, going for Michael Jackson. Incomplete. Flag thrown in the end zone.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Michael Jackson reached out and may have pushed the defender. This could go against the Cleveland Browns. Aside from that, the pass was way late. Tomczak was way late delivering the ball.
That looks like the preliminary indication. Shawn Van Horst was on the coverage of Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson just appeared to throw a stiff arm out there to keep him off.
Tomczak has come over to the sidelines to talk with Bill Belichick. And it was offensive interference against Cleveland.
Well, you take a look at Michael Jackson. He's going to reach back with a kind of a stiff arm once he makes his break. Now, you see, the ball should be coming, but the ball is way late right now. The ball should be out there. Watch his left arm right now, folks. He's going to, there you go. That's just a no-no.
No doubt about it. Michael Jackson called for the interference for Cleveland, and that'll push the Browns back to the 25-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 20 this drive, starting at the 1-yard line, and that'll make it even more difficult for the Browns, who had gone 84 yards. Now they're pushed back 10 more. Mack fighting for any yardage. Probably won't get any as Junior Seau made the stop.
Oh, that was some tough hitting out there. I heard that up here. I almost felt it. You know, one of the defensive theories these teams have is don't allow the offense the big play, the long gainer. If you can keep them from having the long gainer, the offense normally stops themselves with a penalty, with a fumble, some kind of turnover. And at this point, the penalty on Michael Jackson has severely slowed this Cleveland Brown drive.
And has put them in a 2nd down and 20 situation now, as Mack got nothing. Tomczak, plenty of time, going to the right side for Michael Jackson, and this time he hangs on. Touchdown, Cleveland. And the Cleveland Stadium crowd has come to life. 24 yards. Mike Tomczak to the big 6'4" Michael Jackson.
Another one of those big plays that Mike Tomczak referred to earlier by his wide receivers. They need to make the plays, and Michael Jackson atoned for that penalty.
Matt Stover with a point after. And the Browns have gotten on the scoreboard with a touchdown for the first time today, and they lead it 10-7.
At the top of the screen, Michael Jackson, the Cleveland receiver, is one-on-one with Gil Byrd, 22. Gil Byrd's in good position, but Jackson runs the stop and go, and Tomczak delivers just past Byrd. What a nice catch by Michael Jackson. Tomczak wasn't quite sure. He gives it a pump for the stop action, and now he's going to get it downfield. That was the old stop and go. Beautifully thrown pass and a fine catch.
Michael Jackson with his 4th touchdown of the season comes from Mike Tomczak, and Cleveland on a 99-yard drive pulls ahead of the San Diego Chargers 10-7. And this is a short kick taken by Steve Hendrickson, the up back. Cedric Figaro made the stop for Cleveland. Another reminder coming up next week on NBC Sports. After NFL Live, which comes your way at 12:30 Eastern Time, Houston at Miami, Cleveland. This Browns team has another tough assignment next week. Has to go to the Dome and take on the Vikings. It's the Colts taking on Pittsburgh, and in the second half of the doubleheader, really an AFC West classic rivalry. The Broncos visit the Coliseum to take on the Los Angeles Raiders. Here at Cleveland Stadium, intermittent snow, swirling winds by the shores of Lake Erie, and Richard Brown, the injured player for Cleveland, will check with his situation when we come back. And here in Cleveland, San Diego has it 1st and 10 from the 34. Humphries back to pass, and he'll go to Anthony Miller, the wide receiver. Clay Matthews, the veteran linebacker for Cleveland, made the stop. What a drive by Cleveland, Joe. It was stalled momentarily by the offensive pass interference by Michael Jackson. Brought it back 10 yards, but Cleveland able to punch it in with a big 24-yarder to Michael Jackson.
I don't think anyone out there in the Lightning Bolt uniforms or back in San Diego watching the game expected the Cleveland Browns to be able to go 99 yards against such a quality defense.
They lead at 10-7, 13:22 to play. Marion Butts fighting for first down yardage, and I believe he got it. He needed to get to about the 49, and he got just across it. Mike Johnson and Clay Matthews brought him down. As you can see, the snow swirling again. That was good for 6 yards by Marion Butts. And it's Butts again.
Marion Butts, the ball carrier, the tackle by Clay Matthews.
And he's to midfield.
And Bill Johnson also on the stop for the.
Oh, he's powerful. He's powerful. These last two plays, he was hit, Marion Butts, and he was able to fight forward for an extra 2 or 3 yards each time. Such power.
2nd down and 5. The ball at midfield for the Chargers. They trail at 10-7. Their only score of the game coming in the first quarter. And now they're faced with a tough drive with swirling snow and wind in their face. Humphries, that is complete to Nate Lewis, and that'll pick up the first down. So the Chargers now at the Browns' 40-yard line and threatening.
I'd say right now, Dan, the conditions are at their worst. At least they're worse than they've been any other time in the game for throwing the football, because the wind has started to kick up now. Nice catch.
Nate Lewis in his 3rd year out of Oregon Tech. They didn't even think he'd be able to play this week. Suffered from a hip injury, but began to feel better as the week went on. And he has picked up the 1st and 10. Pass intended for Derek Walker, incomplete. David Brandon over there for Cleveland, able to break it up.
Good pressure back there on Stan Humphries. Number 96, Jones, is going to force Humphries to throw that ball a little early, and it's almost picked off. Nice positioning out there by David Brandon, a linebacker who used to be with these very same Chargers.
Brandon picked up in Plan B from San Diego last year. And now the crowd really comes to life on 2nd down and 10. The hardest snow we've seen all game. Humphries in and out of the hands of Derek Walker, but a flag is thrown at the 42.
Derek Walker, the intended receiver.
And that'll be holding against San Diego. So that should bring up the 2nd down and long situation for Bobby Ross in San Diego.
Sure, Bobby Ross said, hey, I like the job down there in Southern California. That'd be a good one to take on. He would go down there and get a
on the offense, number 77, 10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Eric Moulton was called on that time, the holding penalty. left side of the screen. Number 77 gets his right arm around Michael Dean Perry. Once again, a play made by Michael Dean Perry's ability to beat the man in front of him. He gets held.
2nd and 20. The ball at midfield. Play action. Humphries to throw downfield, and it's complete to Anthony Miller. They needed 20. The ball has been spotted at the 30-yard line, and that is exactly where the first down marker is.
That was a big-time pass by Stan Humphries. I mean, these conditions are not conducive to accurate passing. The ball's slippery, the wind's whipping around, and the footing is not good. Yet Stan Humphries stood back there and rifled that ball downfield. May very well have the first down. If not, it's just going to be a matter of inches.
Well, they'll come out and measure it to see if Miller had first down yardage. And it is very close, and San Diego does pick up the first down at the 30-yard line.
There's Miller at the top of the screen. Going down, he's turning around Terry Taylor a bit, but look where the ball comes in. I mean, with velocity, it got there with a sense of urgency. A big play.
Stan Humphries proving he's more than just a backup in San Diego, hanging tough in the pocket and delivering the strike to Anthony Miller. 7th play of this drive. Chargers at the 30 with a 1st and 10. Humphries looks to the left. Terry Taylor on the coverage, and it was intended once again for Anthony Miller. By far the rudest conditions of this game so far, Joe.
Right. Now this pass, kind of like the one Tomczak threw earlier, a little bit late, is late. See, the ball ought to be coming in there right now, but you see Miller has to wait, and then it's up high. A misfire. Miller did have his man beaten there briefly.
10:26 left to play. The Browns had a 99-yard drive to give them a 10-7 lead over the Chargers, and now San Diego threatening from the Brown 30. And a handoff to Marion Butts.
Marion Butts, the ball carrier.
He'll get a couple.
By Anthony Pleasant. Michael Dean Perry and Clay
Charger offense, the 9th-ranked offense in the league, and one of the things that Bobby Ross wanted to do in his first year with San Diego was once again establish the pass attack. And he's been able to do it, as Stan Humphries has passed for more yardage the last couple of weeks in the NFL than any other quarterback. 3rd and 6. Ronnie Harmon in the offensive set for San Diego. Humphries has pressure, gets away. He's going for the end zone. Anthony Miller was out there, but it is incomplete. Terry Taylor once again on the coverage. Miller was open, and if Humphries would have been able to pull the trigger just a second or two ahead of time, he might have had it.
Yeah, Miller gets downfield, and then with the scramble and all, he's able to be hey, no one is on Miller to begin with. Reminds me of Bobby Orr or Jimmy Orr in Super Bowl III waving his hand. Ball's just overthrown. Oh.
Well, now San Diego lining up what will be about a 44-yard field goal attempt. John Carney to attempt it. This would tie it. And Kidd, who is making the hole for Carney, was never able to place it down. So Carney never got a shot at the 44-yard attempt.
That's it. That's the weather. I mean, that's what happens. The ball slick. The snap was right there, and he was just not able to hold on to it. Too slick.
So an impressive drive for San Diego stalls, as John Carney was never even able to attempt this one. And his score remains Cleveland 10, San Diego 7.
Snap back to John Kidd, the holder, but John Kidd simply lost control of the ball.
So the Charger drive stalls. The weather conditions really having an effect on this game now, as Kevin Mack gets 5 yards for Cleveland as they take over.
Minnesota 13.
Time running down, approaching the 9-minute mark left in the game. And you can bet Cleveland will try to expend as much time as possible in this drive. 2nd down and 4. And they keep it on the ground again to Mack. George Thornton, the right tackle for San Diego.
Tackle by George Thornton.
The Browns' first return home in almost a month here at Cleveland Stadium. Trying to hold on to a 10-7 lead. And suddenly the snow has subsided for at least a couple of minutes here anyway. But the field is plenty slick. There's some movement on the defensive line for San Diego, but is able to get back in. That pass is incomplete. Gilbert on the coverage.
Pass is incomplete.
Gilbert had a better shot at catching that pass than Tomczak's receiver. In fact, I think Gilbert ran a better pattern.
That was intended for Mark Bavaro, the tight end, which has brought up a 4th down and 3 for Cleveland, and they will punt it away. And Brian Brennan, the former Brown, he played 8 years here in Cleveland, is back deep for San Diego. Pretty good punt by Brian Hansen. Drives Brennan back to the 10-yard line. And he is stopped inside the 15 and about the 13-yard line by Ron Wolfley. So the Chargers, with a chance to put another drive together, they trail at 10-7. Snowy Cleveland Stadium. The Browns, off the strength of a 99-yard drive, have taken a 10-7 lead over the visiting San Diego Chargers. We've had all sorts of weather conditions today, but this Cleveland Browns fans have braved it, along with San Diego coach Bobby Ross. And now this drive for San Diego will begin in its own 13. Humphries, pass complete to Ronnie Harmon. And that should be good for the 1st down.
Humphries pass completed to Ronnie
Terry
Harmon.
Taylor, the right cornerback, on the coverage for Cleveland. So Ronnie Harmon continuing to be an integral part of this San Diego offense. They had a drive stall just a moment ago as Carney could not get the field goal up. Kidd could not get the placement down. And so the scores remain 10-7, 7:36 and counting to go in this one. Humphries passing on 1st down again, and this time is passed behind Anthony Miller. So that'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Earlier in this game, Stan Humphries had his 9th touchdown pass of the season. That was complete to Shawn Jefferson. It was set up by a 71-yard interception return by Darren Carrington. That has been all the points that San Diego has been able to muster so far. Cleveland added a field goal in the 2nd quarter, and then the touchdown to Michael Jackson in the 4th quarter. And that's where it is 10-7 as San Diego tries to move it up the field, and that one is complete to Ronnie Harmon. Will the ball come loose? It did. Cleveland football. Mike Johnson came up with a football for the Browns as Ronnie Harmon was stripped.
Check on the left side of the screen. The pass is completed, and then the swarm attack tacklers will come in and yank that football loose. Harmon has one hand on it, but he's not able to maintain control as Stevan Moore just kind of rips the ball loose.
That is the second fumble of the game for Ronnie Harmon. And it couldn't have come at a more crucial time. Mike Johnson with a recovery, and right now, Cleveland in business at the Charger 26. The reverse to Michael Jackson. Room across the 20. 10. Inside the 5-yard line. First and goal, Cleveland.
Wow, what a beautiful reverse that was. They fooled the Chargers' pursuit that time, and then Michael Jackson got some help downfield with beautiful blocking from Lawyer Tillman leading his way.
Gain of 21 for Michael Jackson, who's already got a touchdown catch to his credit.
Wide open field out here. Now that's Tillman on the left. You'll see Mike Tillman down there doing a good job of keeping the cornerback away from Michael Jackson.
Ball just outside the 5-yard line. First and goal for Cleveland. They lead at 10-7. Time running with 6:23 remaining. Flag on the play, and that'll stop this one.
That's a delayed game again. That's jeez.
Delay of the game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
That'll push back Cleveland. Excellent call by Bill Belichick on the reverse to Michael Jackson, but just a play later, the Browns don't get the playoff in time. And that'll push them back to the 10-yard line. Where it'll be first and goal. Chargers just in time trying to get players off the field, and they do. They had too many on the field. Tomczak, play action fake, incomplete. Intended for Mark Bavaro. San Diego was shuttling players off the field in droves, it seemed. At least 2 went off the field just before Cleveland was able to get off that snap. So Bobby Ross's defensive charge is a little confused on that play. And that'll bring up second and goal.
Second down and goal.
There's Bill Arnsparger, the defensive coordinator for the Chargers. Pitch to Mack. That'll bring up third and goal. Mack maybe got a couple.
I'll tell you, Floyd Fields made a picture tackle on Kevin Mack. Kevin Mack is a load, but Fields, who goes 6 foot 208, squares right up. Look at that hit. I mean, that is a fine open field tackle by Fields.
Fields' favorite player is Everson Walls, who plays for the Cleveland Browns. So he took a page out of Everson Walls' hitting book on that one. The second-year man out of Arizona State. And on third down and goal, Tomczak. Running to his left and simply throwing it away. Lawyer Tillman was in the vicinity, but Mike Tomczak was just getting rid of that one. So that will bring up fourth and goal. And here comes the field goal unit for Cleveland.
Well, now we saw what happened on the last field goal attempt. That by the Chargers. The ball slipped right through John Kidd's hands. Here's a case where the footing isn't very good for the kicker. He's got to be very careful at how he plants to kick the ball. And of course, the holder's got to make sure he gets the snap properly.
Matt Stover trying a 28-yard field goal. The conditions on this field goal attempt are not as worse when San Diego tried it, and Stover hooks this one in. It is good. So Cleveland comes away with another field goal to take a 13-7 lead on San Diego. 5 minutes left.
Today's attendance defense,
A
58,000.
very nice snap back there, this time by Brian Kitchen. A good placement, and Stover does his job. Check this out. Snaps perfect. Stover gets it up high and draws it back in there. A gentle draw, kind of like with a 5-iron, you know?
Looked like one of your 5 irons, Joe. You have that soft draw that Stover just used.
Yeah, but nobody ever hugs me when I get a good shot.
And you don't play golf in this kind of weather.
You were right about that. Well, you know, that's good news for the Chargers, more or less, to be able to hold these Browns to 3 points, because the Chargers can still score the touchdown and take the lead with an extra point. So the Charger defense did a good job after that turnover, holding the Browns to only 3 points.
Well, Ronnie Harmon fumbled it for San Diego, which gave Cleveland the opportunity. And he's in on the kickoff return team for San Diego. But as mentioned, the Charger defense able to hold Matt Stover to just a field goal. So with 5 minutes left, Stover kicks it off. And it is taken by the upback, Steve Hendrickson. He'll get it across the 25-yard line to about the 27. And that's where San Diego will take over. Gatorade Ironman Triathlon coming up next Saturday here on NBC Sports at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Joe, I encourage you to try one of these.
I will. Next time I'm in Hawaii.
2.5 mile swim, and you get on a bike and you go about 112 miles, and then after that you run a 26-mile marathon to the finish line. I know you can handle that.
You know, the swimming part and the bicycling, okay, but the running part, forget about it.
Well, all the great triathletes of the world assembled on the Kona coast, and it's coming up next Saturday on NBC Sports. The Gatorade Ironman Triathlon. 1st and 10, ball on the 28. 4:51 to go in this one. San Diego trailing Cleveland 13-7. And Humphries will give it to Merriam Butts, who's got first down yardage and more across the 40. Eric Turner on the stop for Cleveland, along with Clay Matthews.
Well, I'd say that was a surprise call. I think everyone in the stadium's expecting passing attack at this point, try and get downfield. Humphries cross him up. Look at a huge hole inside for Merriam Butts, and then he just does the rest.
Well, last week when San Diego fell behind Kansas City, they had an 80-yard drive and a 90-yard drive to make it close before losing on Nick Lowry's field goal. But now here's Merriam Butts on the first down call, as San Diego is called upon with another long drive here with 4:08 left and counting in the game.
Tackles made by James Jones, Mike Tomczak.
Well, Coach Bobby Ross has got to feel now, as his offense has to feel. It's in their hands. The clock is in their favor. Plenty of time to march the distance they need and score the touchdown if possible. So it's up to the offense at this point. The Charger defense has kept them in the game.
2nd down and 6. The Chargers working with 2 timeouts left. The ball at the 45. And that is Butts.
And that is impressive.
And that is a first down.
That is some good running and good blocking.
Merriam Butts, 6'1", 248 pounds. He's had a little bit, he's been a little bit less than 100% with that knee injury aggravated last week, but we can't tell by that today. He has been a workhorse and has come up with some big rushing chances today for San Diego as we approach the 3-minute mark. 1st and 10. And Butts again gets the call, and he's across the 45-yard line. Michael Dean Perry slanting in there to help on the stop.
You know, it's hard to relate to how a guy feels out there on the field. Michael Dean Perry could barely walk off the field there in the first half. He had that right knee of his re-injured. Awful painful thing. But here's a guy, he comes off the field, regathers himself, and now he's out there doing a job. I mean, that takes a lot of guts, folks.
Well, this drive, Butts has 4 carries for 27 yards. And on 2nd down and 8, Humphries will throw. Way downfield, going for it all. Pass intended for Nate Lewis. Frank Minifield on the coverage, and he was there every step of the way.
Frank Minifield was there every step of the way, and he also had some help from one of his safeties over there, Vince Newsom. You see Minifield just off and running. Now, I'll tell you, Miller's speed is going to get him past Minifield, but the ball is just overthrown. Miller had to take a kind of an inside route because of Minifield's excellent defensive position.
3rd down and 8. Crucial play for San Diego. They trail it 13-7. Humphries going for it all on 3rd and 8. Anthony Miller. Touchdown, San Diego.
Pass complete to Anthony Miller. Touchdown.
45 yards to Anthony Miller on the 3rd and 8 call. And that has tied it up at 13-all. The point after attempt pending.
Humphries looks like he came back with the same play. He said, hey, I can throw it better this time. And sure enough, Miller responded by beating Minifield, and Humphries delivered. Now the crucial extra point, Dan.
Crucial is right. 13-all tie. 2:05 remaining. John Carney lining up for the kick. John Kidd will hold. And this duo had some problems on just a few moments ago when they attempted a field goal. And actually it was the holder, John Kidd, who was never able to get it down for Carney on the field goal attempt. But this is the point after attempt, tied at 13 with 2:05 to go. This time the hold is down, and this time Carney connects. And that puts San Diego ahead 14-13. So Carney, I think all those guys were holding their breath on that one, including Bobby Ross.
I think the guys ended up hugging John Kidd for making the catch, and then Carney for kicking it through. Anthony Miller, speed on the bottom of your screen. Number 83 splits the seam, then outruns Frank Minifield down the field. Minifield certainly is expecting help on the inside by his safety, Eric Turner, but Eric Turner didn't get back there either.
Anthony Miller with his 4th touchdown reception of the year. And an excellent throw by Stan Humphries. 45-yard touchdown from Humphries to Miller. 72 yards. It took only 6 plays and less than 3 minutes. There is 2:05 remaining here.
Yeah, like you say, Dan, less than 3 minutes, so that's the good news for these Cleveland Browns fans. The Browns still have 2 minutes and change to play with to be able to get either a touchdown or in go-ahead field goal position. This return is a major factor. You know, the Browns need to get a good return, and now kicking off into this wind is going to be a bit tough. I don't know how far Carney's going to be able to get the ball downfield.
Well, that is Randy Baldwin back deep. He's got a 24-yard kickoff return average. That is 2nd best in the conference. And not a bad kick at all. Oh, Carney, who takes Baldwin back into the end zone. We are at the 2-minute warning in Cleveland. The Chargers up 14-13. His team is 80 yards away from the end zone, but he also knows a field goal would win it. So the Cleveland offense doesn't have as far to go, but they have less time to do it in.
And Bobby Ross has his ace bunch out on the team, you might say. The strongest part of this team thus far, his defense. So he's got to feel pretty good about his chances.
From the 20, Cleveland trailing by 1. Tomczak pump fake, has his man, Lawyer Tillman. He's across the 40-yard line. 1st and 10 Cleveland. Gilbert on the coverage. The clock continuing to run 1:45.
What a catch. What a fine catch by Lawyer Tillman.
Lawyer Tillman already well over the 100-yard receiving mark today. Picks up the 1st down. Minute 30 to go. Tomczak in and out of the hands of Eric Metcalf, and he was able to hold on. And he's dropped at the 41-yard line of San Diego. The clock running at a minute 18. Darren Carrington made the stop on Metcalf. So two big plays, Tillman and Metcalf, and it's 1st and 10 from the Charger 41. Minute 7 left. Delay. Leroy Horde left side, a flag thrown in the backfield, and that might be holding against Cleveland, and it is.
Oh boy, it appeared Leslie O'Neal was trying to break free to make the play, and one of the Browns had a hold of him.
Holding on the offense, number 66, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Tony Jones, the left tackle, held. So that'll push Cleveland back 10 more yards and make it 1st and 20. They were inside the Chargers territory at the 41. Now they're at their own 49. Just over a minute left. Cleveland trailing San Diego 14-13. And on 1st and 20, Tomczak sends Tillman in motion to the right side. Swings it out to Eric Metcalf. He's got room to the 40. Inside the 40, down to the 36. Fumbled the football. And San Diego has it. Stanley Richard recovered the football after Eric Metcalf fumbled it. And that may have ended Cleveland's chances.
Metcalf feels rotten, all these Browns do too, but I tell you, San Diego Chargers, give them credit. I mean, Metcalf didn't just drop this ball. It was kind of ripped loose here. Look at that. Richards gets a hand in there on the football to knock it loose. And then number 24, Stanley Richard, gets hold of it. I mean, number 29 knocked it loose. How many plays has Carrington made today?
He's made a lot.
Oh, my goodness. And there, of course,
the disappointment on Eric Metcalf's face tells it all. So with 52 seconds left, San Diego will just try and run it out.
I wouldn't even hand it off at this point. I'd take a knee.
Humphries hands it off to the sure-handed Marion Butts.
The ball carrier.
And Cleveland takes a timeout.
James Jones, David Brandon, and Michael Dean Perry combined to make the tackle on the last play.
So with 48 seconds left, San Diego leading Cleveland 14-13.
Let's take another look at the big play. Darren Carrington, 29, gets his left arm in there and jars the ball loose. And then Stanley Richards able to get over there and get it. I know everyone feels awful with the Browns, certainly Metcalf, but once again, Carrington, he has made some plays with the interception on the kicking game, the punting game. Carrington's been down there, and here he causes a fumble.
He's been all over the field for special teams for San Diego. As Joe mentioned, he had the 71-yard interception return, which set up San Diego's first score of the game. And right now, San Diego in control. 2nd down and 10 with just 48 seconds left to play. Humphries again hands off to Butts. Rob Burnett makes the stop. And the Browns take a timeout. They have just one left.
I tell you, the play right now would be a bootleg play. I would make my quarterback fake that handoff, run a naked boot play. All right, say you don't get the first down. At least by the quarterback rolling out, you're going to chew up some extra seconds off that clock. Plus, you don't take the chance of making the exchange to the running back, the chance of the fumble.
All right, we'll see what Bobby Ross and Stan Humphries do on a 3rd down and 9 call. 44 seconds to go. To imagine that Cleveland will get the football again. That is if they can stop this 3rd down and 9 conversion, but they only have one timeout left, and with just 44 seconds to go, And the Chargers up 14-13. San Diego comes to the line. And Humphries gives it to Butts, who strings out the Cleveland defense along the left side to bring up 4th down. So San Diego will punt it away to Cleveland with 37 seconds to go. And the Browns with 1 timeout.
Well, the snapper has got to make a good snap. That being, of course, Sam Anno.
All right, it's time for the Hager wrinkle-free cotton super play of the game, and who else would get it but Anthony Miller, the touchdown toss coming from Stan Humphries. That tied the game at 13 all, and John Carney added the point after attempt to make it 14-13 San Diego. So Anthony Miller's touchdown catch, our Hager wrinkle-free cotton super play of the game. All right, Eric Metcalf is standing at his own 15-yard line. John Kidd will punt for San Diego.
10 Browns up on the line of scrimmage. They're going to try and come after this one.
Snap count. Short punt. Metcalf tries to get up to it, but it's going to bounce out of bounds where they will mark it at about the 29, but a flag is dropped.
The punt is
way back at the 40-yard line.
The Browns will take possession. 1st and 10 around the 29. A flag on the play.
And it goes against Cleveland.
Well, do you want to try and snap the ball again, because the 1st down is not going to be had by this 5-yard penalty, I don't believe. So the Chargers would still face a 4th down and about 1. I don't know that they want to risk another snap by Sam Anno. Maybe they just want to give Cleveland the ball at their own 29 with just 29 seconds left.
Well, the Browns are out of timeouts now with 29 seconds left. And San Diego will indeed
number 66. The penalty is declined.
Decline the penalty.
1st down.
So they wanted just to get the ball off, get it downfield, and force it into Cleveland's hands, where the ball is spotted at the 29-yard line, so they'll have a long way to go.
You know, Dan, I can't help but remember Bobby Ross telling us how important this game is to the Chargers. We looked at their future schedule. They have Tampa Bay next week, but they don't play a team with the winning record, I don't think, the rest of the way home. They hold on for this game. They've got a wonderful shot at making the playoffs.
The Chargers, who started this season off at 0-4, have won 4 out of 5 and are looking for their 5th win in their last 6 games against Cleveland. But the Browns had the ball, 29 seconds left, ball at their own 29. Tomczak firing, wobbly pass, looked like he was either hit or it was deflected at the line of scrimmage, intended for Shawn Collins, but Tomczak slow in getting up on that one. Post-game report coming up. Old Spice NFL Live post-game report with Bob Costas, Will McDonough, and O.J. Simpson coming up following the completion of this game. They'll have all the scores and highlights around the NFL. 2nd down and 10. 23 seconds left to play. The Browns trailing 14-13. They are out of timeouts. Tomczak is in trouble, and he'll be sacked at the 21-yard line with 18 seconds left. Lay's winner, number 96, was back there to get him along with Chris Mims. So Tomczak has taken a beating in the last couple of plays, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 18. Less than 9 seconds. The clock running at 6 seconds left, and Tomczak has to put it up for grabs. And it was intended for Michael Jackson. incomplete. So San Diego travels to Cleveland Stadium today in inclement weather and picks up a huge win, which will even their record up at 5-5. The Browns fall to 5-5 as San Diego wins it 14-13. Now you can